Hey guys, it's Tahi. Let's do the dragons on Mythic. This is obviously for our raid team skill issue, but if you're in a different raid team, you are more than welcome to use this strategy as well. Unfortunately, I have bricked the raid plan, and I'm just not going to recreate it, so I don't have a saved copy, but I do have it on our raid team spreadsheet, so we'll go through it step by step here. Alright, so all of the fears for basically the entire fight are going to look like this. What I want you to do is you need to get up in this dragon's face. What I don't want you to do is to go like deep into range. You're going to be more difficult to be dispelled because you're going to be further away from the healers that way. And then on top of that, the added mythic mechanic is you get like a massive move speed increase when you get feared, which means you're going to run away from the healers even faster to get your dispel. So you need to be up in melee very close. And especially once we get to like the end of the fight, Gloom is going to be covering up more distance than what this diagrams below are going to show. It's going to basically reach all the way to the boss, to where the boss position is going to be. So you really need to get used to being in the front of the boss face from the get-go. All null beams, they're going to go this way as shown. It's going to be Thick and Crazed, who are going to share that mechanic together. You both need to do it so you both get stacks. Otherwise, the maximum stacks one can get is like 8 or 9, and that will make the tether very difficult for Priest and other slow classes to break. So essentially, the way it should look is you're both getting debuffed, and then your taunt off is, I believe, on the Gloom, but you guys should be looking into that further to make sure that that's correct. If it's too much damage taken and we're survivability issues, we'll just replace Wumbo to eat the null with whichever tank is tanking the light dragon instead. Orb drops. This is what we're going to be doing. Some people have to miss this week, so there will be some assignments given for people to stand to those spots instead. Here's a more blown up version so you can kind of see where your spots are at. Bosses are going to be like by this diamond formation right here, so everything's going to be shifted up quite a bit. There is, I believe, one spawn of orbs where we don't have mass grip. So it's going to be a spread out of Thias pushing, Nova pushing, and myself pushing from these different angles. If Cody isn't able to make it, then we'll just do it that way instead. But not a big deal. Just one mass grip where we won't have mass grip, or spawn of orbs where we won't have mass grip. Phase 1 glooms. So there's essentially going to be a left team, which is always going to be referred as Group 1, and a right team, which will always be referred to as Group 2. To make it a little bit easier, I made this before I bricked the raid plan. You guys should be like the tank that gets this casted on them should be right in the boss's face immediately, eat it immediately, and then Fizz directly behind him, and then Dalt, and then Cody, so on and so forth. The way I want you guys to eat these glooms, so imagine that this is our little gloom orb here, and let's say it's going this way. I want you guys to be moving through the orb as you soak it, so the person behind you can eat it too. What you shouldn't do is just like let it hit you and just like stay inside of it while it's hitting you. You want to be moving through it. Do not stand there. Don't stick around. It's not really that debilitating of a debuff. The biggest thing really is for tanks, how close you guys are going to be to each other when these kinds of glooms come out. You'd just have to make sure when you're tanking the darker dragon that you move just a little bit further away from your co-tank. I don't think there's any overlaps where there should be a problem. But there have been teams that have gotten both their tanks killed at once because they were just a little too close to when the gloom came out and end up killing both the tanks. So just be mindful of that, please. Alright, so phase 1 glooms, left group 1, you're going to be dealing with 2 of them. And then in group 2, you're only going to be dealing with 1 of them in phase 1. When we get to the first intermission, this is one of the more difficult parts of the entire fight. There's going to be 2 fear breaths. They always spawn from these locations. The top one is the first one. We will not be using a Warlock Gate for this. You just need to run out, pop a defensive, and then Fizz is going to be our primary dispeller. So we want Fizz to be able to be in range of you. Make sure you turn this frontal cone so it's not going to the center of the room. In between the first fear and the second fear is going to be this null beam. Wumbo is going to be tanking the add and the intermission so that Crazy Thick can go both handle this null beam together again. Healers, make sure you're aware that they're going to be taking a lot of damage. Thick isn't going to have anything to really death strike off of, so you really need to make sure he's doing okay. That's probably a good icebound spot for you, Thick. And then on top of that, you guys can point this null beam up like this, or you can point it down to like where this gloom 3 is going to be at. It's whatever you want to do. Just make sure you don't kill the sphere person or the second fear person that's going to go there. That's the only thing that matters. The second fear person, you have two options depending on what your ability looks like. A tether is going to occur during this fear. So you're going to get tethered as you're getting this fear cast on you. You can get dispelled and then gate back in to break your tether. You can wait for the tether to apply, gate out, break the tether, and get feared simultaneously. That is probably a little bit more sketch. The safer thing is probably to run out, get the fear, get the dispel, and then gate back in, and you'll break it all at once. The thing that I've seen a lot of raid teams wipe to for a long time is this second fear frontal doesn't get turned far enough away from the center of the room to hit the raid. So we're going to be doing two things. One, we don't have to stand in this light barrier anymore as a raid team. So instead, we can just start moving north to help ourselves get away from the second fear cast. So we do that as a raid team. And then the second thing is just make sure that we use movement speed, and it'll be behind to get this person out as far as possible. And Mo, that should answer your gate question you asked me here. Just this one gate for down south. We might put another gate up north in a later phase, but I'm undecided on that right now. Phase 2 glooms. Phase 1, you take the first one again. I know you took the last third one, but your debuff has fallen off, so we can go back to the left again. And then the second one of phase 2 will be group 2, or the right team. And then we go to intermission 2. Not a lot happening here. The biggest thing is this gloom soak, which will be group 1. Even though it spawns up here, this gloom goes to the left, and you are left group. It does go through the center of the room. And which, by the way, the last thing I should have mentioned this. Tanks, it's important that you guys are on top of your stuff when it comes to knowing who has aggro when we go into intermission. So this null beam from the Darker Dragon will be targeted on whichever tank has aggro on him before the intermission starts. Just like this Gloom intermission 2 will be targeted on the tank that had aggro on the Lighter Dragon before intermission 2 started. So what that means is whatever our order is for whichever tank is going to be in group 1 and whichever tank is going to be in group 2, the group 1 tank has to make sure he has aggro on this guy before they fly away. So put that in your liquid reminders, please, to make sure you get aggro on which one. And then phase 3. Phase 3 has probably the worst amount of overlaps. We're going to go over overlaps really quickly here. But essentially there's going to be 2 more glooms in the fight. Group 1 was the last one to soak in the intermission 2, so then group 2, right group is going to be doing 1 gloom, and then the last gloom will go to the first mark, which will be the group 1, the left group. So then also in our spreadsheet, I put a bunch of different links to bad overlaps. They're all like 15-second clips or shorter, and the description should say in all of them what the problem is. So there's an orb drop that goes straight into a tether. So we need to get these gathered, break tethers, and get out quickly. Whenever we get tethers, the way the damage works is obviously the orbs cast and do damage. Obviously dropping them does damage, so standing on top of a friend does get you killed. But the way we're going to deal with it is the last person to break their tether is what starts the raid-wide damage. So Wumbo will always be the last one to break his tether. So that way we can basically control when the damage occurs. And since it's a DK, he has full control of breaking it because of Death's Advance. The sad overlap, this is also in phase 1, is a Fear Breath into Orbs. So someone's going to get targeted with a Fear. Notice how close he is into melee right here. That's exactly how I want every single person to do it. And then he gets feared, and then immediately we drop. So we're probably going to have to grip that one single orb into the group, because it's just going to be a loner all by itself. And then it goes straight into a no beam. So that is not the worst overlap, but it's not terrible. This is the first sphere coming out. This is intermission 1. This one goes up to the north. And you'll see that the up here points it clear out of the center, so Fizz needs to be close to that person to make sure that he gets the dispel immediately. And then this is the tank beam, so that the tanks can see what it's going to look like in intermission. He points it south. That's completely fine. You can point it through the puddle. Either works for me. It's whatever you guys want to do. But you'll see that both tanks are in here eating stacks, so that this tether's easier for everyone to break. And then you'll see that, and I have a clip of it, this is the second sphere of that intermission. You're going to go south with this one. This is the gate use one. And Fizz, I'm pretty sure just hard committing bubble to make sure you can break this tether and get this dispel quickly is probably a good call for you. Obviously it goes on Fizz. Cud will be back up, and we'll deal with that as we need to. Getting into phase 2, this intermission ad is very, very dangerous. Every time he's up going into a new phase, he is the primary kill target. You'll see that there's people with the intermission orbs. We're going to do 2 things to handle these. 1, don't move when you drop your orb. Stay still so that people can get away from you. And 2, on this one, you have to use a personal. It's just too much damage intake all at once, and it's probably going to get people killed on prog. So let's just reduce the amount of wipes we have to it. Use a personal specifically on when we're dropping orbs like this, and that gets applied to you. This follow-up one, where like the point of view that we're watching from Dan here, he's going to get it on this one. He doesn't need to hit a personal here. There's no more damage coming out, and all the orbs are dead. The ad, when it's alive, is the priority target. You're not cleaving off bosses, you're cleaving off of the ad into the 2 dragons when he's alive. This is the group 1 soak with orb drops. So orbs are going to spawn, and then it's going to be a gloom soak, so you have to drop your orbs, and then group 1 immediately has to get over to their side, do their soak. Sorry, I'm not trying to make this video too long, but there's just a lot of bad overlaps on this fight. That's what is really the problem. Tether break, and then we have to get back in and drop orbs. That one's not terrible. That one will be using movement speed or something like that to help us out. This is probably the most dangerous overlap of the entire fight. I would 100% say put in your LRs to pop a defensive here. Just a lot of raid damage. We drop orbs. We have to break these tethers. We're about to go to intermission, and all of these orbs are casting. I can't recall off the top of my head, but I do have it in assignments. We are using a mass grip at this spot, so it should be slightly less dangerous than what you see in a lot of raid teams, but every single VOD I've watched, this is a huge danger zone, and if you just watch their frames, as soon as they break the tether, everyone like drops 50% for quite a while. But we should be able to kill them faster than that. Mass grip ads, this is intermission 2. This will be a mass grip. For this, we're going to go to our normal spots. The only thing is if you get these blue orbs from the intermission ad, you'd go to the outside. If you are standing on top of one of these people with the intermission circles with your orb drop, it will likely one-shot you. Not the person that has it, but the person who doesn't have it that's also standing inside the circles. You need to pop a personal if you get put in that position. Like you'll see this Ross person, I believe it's the top person perhaps, just gets absolutely one-shot. So if you get in that, that's personal as well. And then the last one that's worth making a clip about is towards the end of the fight. This is the last gloom of the fight. You have to go soak gloom fast. This is group 1 again. There is a theme. Group 1 has the more difficult glooms across the entire fight. And then get back in for your orb drops. This is the last orb drop of the fight, more than likely as well. So, those are really all of the bad overlaps. I would strongly encourage you guys to definitely watch a couple kill videos, watch a couple POVs as well. And then here's one last video, I guess, about how I kind of want you guys to be doing the glooms on all of them. So you'll see like running through the gloom. That's the kind of movement I would like you guys to do to not hurt yourselves, so, or get each other killed. So Simon Sheet has basically everything done. Nova has replaced Cody as one of the people from the raid plan. I think everything else is good to go. This whole top and bottom thing is just in reference to, are you coming from like the top of the gloom or for like the bottom of the gloom? That way you guys are standing on either side of it rather than like standing buddy holding hands. That's just safer, and it's what I see a lot of raid teams do. So take note of where you're soaking from. Tanks, a lot of things that you guys need to talk about and figure out about which marker you're aiming at every single time. And then I will look more into the mass groups to figure out if I want wombo gripping this one or thick gripping this one to set the cadence of how it's going to look the entire fight. And then for all of the gloom people, obviously it's in the LR, but if you want timestamps for when you are soaking, they are right here for your respective groups. So, all right, this video has gone on long enough. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, get a hold of me. Bye.